I'm Kiera Morgan. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Coffee with Kiera. We're sponsored by The Human Bean in Newport and Lincoln City. And today I am here with Gary, Ripka, and Cari Brandburg, and we are talking a little bit about some of the things that are affecting the crabbing industry. Let's start with some introductions. Gary, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
My name is Gary Ripka, commercial crabber for over 45 years. Own the fishing vessel Genoa and Tabitha. Started crabbing at the age of like 12, pretty much. And I've been doing it ever since. And I'm also president of the Oregon Coast Crabbers Association.
All right. And Cari, I mean, you need no introduction. What?
Cari Brandburg. We have a commercial crabber, the Monday Uni, here out of Newport, smaller size boat, 42 foot. And we also have the Chelsea Rose. So we're a local seafood market here in Newport. And historically, I've been a live crab buyer that dealt with export markets and that. But I'm retired from that after 16 years. And I'm also a fisherman's daughter, crabber's daughter. So I've been in this industry my whole life.
And a fisherman's wife?
Yes, and a fisherman's wife. And I am on the board of Fisherman's Wives too, but I am the new treasurer of the Oregon Coast Crab Association.
And tell us a little bit about the Oregon Coast Crab Association and what you do.
Well, the association was formed in 2019 because of some whale issues back then. Those issues kind of went to the back burner, and the organization's been dormant up until this point. And Cari and I got the organization up and running again to fight this petition is in front of us right now.
And let's talk about that petition and what's in it.
Well, the petition was filed from CBD and Oceana to the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. And it is the most restrictive fishing to change the laws, change the regulations on how the fishery will operate from now forward. And it's to make dramatic changes to the Oregon Coast fishing fleet. The changes they want are extremely severe, extremely harmful to the fleet, especially the small boat fleet. Mm-hmm. The smaller boats, the mom and pop operations, extremely bad for Cari's Chelsea Rose to distribute fresh crab to the public. They're very, very, Cari, you want to go in on?
Yeah, we believe that this comes at a high cost. This petition, whether it be under, positive influences, hopefully, the reality is as Oregon crabber families, crab is the core of our income. It accounts for over 50% of the income for Oregon crabbers on average. And so even though we do other fisheries, mm-hmm. crab is more than half of our money. And so if half of your income was gone or 25% of your income was gone, are you able to continue to run your business? Or your family? What does that look like? Are you able to stay in crabbing? And we have enough obstacles up against people trying to get into this fishery, people trying to stay in this fishery, people trying to retire from this fishery. We don't have pensions and all those things. We have our crab permits and we have our boats. And we've seen in the state of California, as this has happened there, and we've seen these petitions and lawsuits, we've seen those people be nearly put out of business. And this is a real threat to us, and it's a real threat to the community culture of the coast. We're a working harbor here in Newport, and you can't say that everywhere. And I think we can go a lot of places where commercial fishing isn't prevalent there anymore and see what happens to those towns. And
they dry up.
They dry up, because the economic impact of crab to tourism, to restaurants, to markets, and to fishing families. We're looking at over 1,000, it's in the thousands, of family wage jobs that are provided by commercial crabbing in Oregon. And it's nothing to shake a stick at. You know, it's we can't easily say, oh well, it's just needs to be changed. One change alone, they put in a temporary rule due to the petition right away, and the temporary rule restricts the crabbing by 40% in April, which was not affected before.
Sure.
By doing that, we saw the numbers from 2015 to last year, and what we saw is that in 2023 and season of 2023 and 24, there was over $9 million worth of crab landed in the month of April. The lowest year of those is just under 1 million pounds. So looking at that, that's a lot of money for Oregon and Oregonians. And it's something we want our fisheries, ODFW, to recognize that we're here. We are with them in this fight.
Yes.
We want to see our crabbers continue our way of life. We want to see the coastal communities continue the culture of consuming crab. We want to stay the Dungeness crab capital of the world in
Right.
Newport.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like, not to interrupt here,
No.
I'd like to make a really point here is we don't want to entangle whales.
No.
Right.
We love whales. You know, this isn't because of, you know, we're making a lot of changes in the industry to try to not entangle whales by trying to get rid of derelict gear out of the boat. Most 90% of your entanglements are derelict pods. So we're stepping up the derelict gear program.
And can you explain for those who may not know what a derelict pod is?
A pod is a lost pod that you know, you're fishing your strings of gear, and maybe some kelp or debris or something got a log or something, drug one of your pots out of your string. And when you went to pick it up, you missed it, and it got left behind. Kind of like a lost cattle in a herd. You know, it's a stray. We call them strays. So basically, you know, it's a lost pot that didn't get accounted for.
Okay.
And you know, that happens. It's just part of business. It does happen. So we're trying to clean that up, be good stewards of the ocean, and try to clean that up. And we feel that what's, you know, we need to ramp up. We have a derelict gear program that we started to try to get rid of the stray pods. And we feel a much better way is to ramp up that program, to fund the program more. We're only entangling, 3 to 4 whales a year.
Well,
On a herd that is increasing by, that everyone agrees is 8.2% annually. On the whale population.
We're looking at booming populations. I think it's really easy for us to look at sea lions and see that, you know, what a booming marine mammal population looks like, how it came from being protected and where it is now. And that's something maybe the general public don't understand. I know, Kiera, when we were talking before, I like to use this instance of deer, right? So we see deer get hit on the road, right? We know Highway 20, we're hitting deer. Right? It happens. People do it. Nobody wants to hit a deer. No one wants to kill a deer. Nobody wants to destroy their vehicle with a deer. We drive past the deer and we keep driving that road, and we know more deer are hit at night, but we continue to still allow people to drive on the road at night. And there's a chance they might hit a deer. It's not likely. Most of us will never hit a deer in our life, but it could happen. And whale entanglements are much less than that, right? But we aren't as concerned about the deer because there isn't a perceived idea that the deer are endangered. So with whales, they're on a list that they might be endangered. They're at threat of being endangered.
Let's talk about those populations of endangered, because it's not every single whale.
Yeah. So there's specifically, we aren't talking about gray whales. Specifically, we're talking about humpback whales. With that, there's subpopulations of pods of humpback whales. They're not well recorded that we've been able to get a hold of.
The science is fuzzy.
Yes, and the whales that are being entangled in Oregon are generally assumed to be from an endangered or threatened to be endangered pod. But those are not the only whales that do come off of the coast of Oregon, and there is no DNA testing being done. There is some fluke where they may, they're watching their flukes from juvenile, but they have to have been photographed, and there's big gaps in that program. Some recent whale entanglements that we've seen or beaching of whales that we've seen were not identified to be a part of that pod. They might be assumed to be a part of a pod, but they were not identified as part of those pods. So us as crabbers were saying we are working together with scientists. We want to help. None of us want to entangle a whale. We are stewards of our ocean. We're stewards of our sea. We're out there. We're doing what we can to keep our ocean clean, to do the right things. A lot of times as crabbers with these single buoy type gear that we use, we feel we are one of the cleanest fisheries. Right. And we stand by that. And we've always had that feeling. And for this to happen and threaten that, it kind of shook us a little, but we voluntarily for over 10 years as a fleet have had action committees. We've worked on a conservation plan. We've worked on take permits. We've worked on gear entanglement options and things that have changed already up to this point, like reducing our gear after May 1st, reducing
the possibility of entanglement.
Reducing pot limits in general.
Wow.
Is
the idea of reducing the limits in May, is that because that's when there's more transition of whales?
So
that is the
idea. And there's also been a depth restriction that has been put in place by May 1st, which is 40 fathoms. So the whales are typically out deep, much deeper than 40 fathoms, but we drew that as a very conservative line. Now, this new petition asking us to move inside of 30 and make it April. And that was done very quickly and not in the process that we are accustomed the gear by 40%. To. So they upped the reduction, they upped a month, and they lowered the depth by another 10 fathoms. So these are big things to us that were easily kind of adapted, and that's a fear of ours.
And I want to bring the point up here that the reason why we're in this situation, the whale population is exploding. So years ago when the whale population was near extinction, nobody cared about a pot entanglement. Nobody talked to us because we didn't have them at all. Now we're having them, and it's because what really it's the success of the whales. The whales are it's something we should be applauding, instead of going after our fishery, which has a very small, interaction with whales. Incidental and interaction with whales, period. Where other industries have way more interaction. I want to bring a point that the shipping industry came under a petition also 2 years ago. And NOAA came to the conclusion that and they have unbelievable amount of ship strikes. It's been anywhere from 80 to 120 a year. Ship strikes. We have 3 to 4 whales a year, but yet we're being attacked by the environmental groups. NOAA decided that in that petition, they looked at the whale population as an increase, and that they felt that the ship strikes weren't having any negative impact on the population of the whales increasing, and they denied the petition.
So let me ask you, I know that part of the petition is saying that you want this pop-up gear, and I'll have you explain what that is, but isn't there something that you can work with scientists to put some kind of sonar or put some kind of sound device on some of these pots that would deter the whales from getting near these ropes?
So we have talked about ideas like pingers, they call those, which would send out an impulse, and some say they've been tested and work, some say they don't work. Our state really has not sanctioned us to be able to try a lot of this. So we have to be under a working relationship, which we have these whale entanglement advisories. We do these things have been brought up. We've changing our line to be markable, so we know if an entanglement was Oregon, California, or Washington. All 3 states are doing that voluntarily. That's over $100,000 per vessel invested in that line. So
and that's being mandated by the state. With working with the fishermen, we've come up with that, and that's one of the frustrating things
that
here.
Will not entangle whales. Right. That will just identify where that whale became entangled.
It doesn't stop the whales from being entangled whatsoever. Not one whale will ever be saved by us marking our line.
We have volunteered to be on a take committee group where we work as fishermen to be innovative to try to find ways to not entangle whales. Our state hasn't had any meetings yet. So there are these things that we are trying to do, and we have voluntarily done. They had to vet the applicants. We had so many applicants wanting to do this. So as fishermen, we feel good about what we're doing. California has been experimenting with something called pop-up gear. There's been a little over 20 boats experimenting in a shallow area in one area that was closed of California. They have seen some success. We have asked to, for one, be demonstrated, and then also to have an experimental fishery where we can try out this gear at a low to zero cost to help us out. At this point, our state has discussed it and is planning to roll out an experimental fishery, trying out this gear, but it's not ready yet. This petition says that that needs to happen by 2028. We haven't even tried this yet. We don't know if it works outside of 40 fathoms, which is what it would be intended to be used in Oregon, would be outside of a closed area. Well, we don't know if it works.
We've talked about the ocean conditions here versus California.
We don't know about our current.
We've never had a pop-up gear set.
We've never set it. Ever. We don't know if it would pop up. We don't know if our cellular data that it uses is strong enough to make it work here. And I'll explain what the gear is, because I did go to a demonstration in Astoria that was done by California fishermen and Sea Grant. And so people are familiar with what a long line is. So there's an end marker on each end, and then there's a string of rope with pots attached to that string of rope. So each end marker, which we do this with long lining, and we've long lined crab pots before doing this with typical long line buoys. This, instead of having typical long line buoys, would be submersible. You cannot see it below the water. And there's a sensor on the bottom of the boat with a remote. That's the function, right? Is then it goes over it, you hit the button, they pop up, hopefully, with a hard buoy, and then your pots start to come up. This is every time. All that gear must be stacked onto your vessel and then reset. And then also coming with that is a computer system that keeps track of where that gear is. So you see your gear, hopefully, and other people's gear, and state police can see all the gear. Hopefully. But we, again, have not been able to test this database here in Oregon. And then also, there's the physicalness of it. We don't know if this will actually fit on all boats. We don't know if it would work on all boats. We don't know if the hydraulics on boats, some of these smaller boats, are able to do it.
That was going to be my question.
There's been a huge stress of fishermen saying, I don't think my boat can do that. That means we are putting 4 to 5 families out of business if they can't do this.
And then the cost.
This is just serious. Then the cost is over $100,000
per boat to do it.
And there's no current.
On top of what we're already spending on line marking.
And permits and everything
all
else.
The things that we're spending money on. And so there is a breaking point. There is a breaking point. This is multi-million-dollar fishery in Oregon, and the way that comes out economically to the markets, to the restaurants, to the buying a truck, to going to the gear shop, to buying groceries, all these things in our communities that fishermen are spending money on, sponsoring your baseball team, all of these things that we know that fishing families and businesses are doing in our communities. And it's on something experimental. So we think that this is, at the least, a rash decision by them to rush into this for these nonprofit NGOs, environmental groups, to say, use a product that we have not tested. We don't know, will it entangle more whales? We do not know, will this leave more ocean garbage? I think we all don't want more ocean garbage.
No.
And what does that do to other sea life if it is left there, if we can't find it, if it doesn't pop up? We don't know. There's answers we don't know. And like I said, as stewards of the sea, these things worry us. They might not worry somebody sitting behind a desk going, looks good.
Yeah.
But we're out there on this ocean.
That's the funny thing about, well, I will not say funny, it's the frightening thing, I'll put it that way, is people are making decisions and assumptions that have no experience of how it works, how the vessels work, how the ocean conditions are. This is just unbelievable that we need at very least have at least a 2 to 3 year experimental period for pop-up gear before we rashly install, introduce it and make us pay it, the money to do it, to implement it.
Now, Gary, we've talked a lot about the commercial fishing and crabbing. What about the sport crabbing? Do some of these rules apply to
Not
them
at this
as well?
present time, they won't, but who knows how far they'll go here.
Because isn't there ocean sport crabbing?
Yes, there is.
And don't they
I've had
use lines
several,
as well?
several sport crabbers and charter organizations reach out to me. Is this going to affect me? I say, well, at this time it won't, but it probably will down the road.
And if it ends up worst case scenario that it severely impacts our crabbing industry, what happens with that population of crabs? Because don't they, my understanding is they turn over pretty quickly.
Yeah,
and won't that create
I'd like to
an
talk
imbalance?
to that about the crab fishery. We have the cleanest self-regulating fishery in the world. Crabs multiply, they reproduce 2.5 to 3 times before they come to legal size to harvest. You could catch every crab in the ocean that's legal every season. It can't be done. You could do, if it could be done.
When they did a bioeconomic study, they called it the gift.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the gift. It keeps giving.
Because some years we might have a low year, but the next year we'll have like an amazing year.
Yeah, amazing
It
year.
depends on what's maybe happening out in the deep. We don't even have that much science on them,
Right.
on the biologically, because we don't need it, because they are the gift, because we're having record years, even though we're crabbing more than we ever did before.
Like I said, every year we get a new crop because of the way the population works. I've had seasons that were just horrible seasons, horrible, where you just, I mean, things were not good. We didn't make any money, and we're going, man, hope next year's better. And then the next year we have one of the biggest ones we ever had. And you just never know. It's a new crop every year, and a lot of it has to do with ocean conditions. You know, that a lot of it has to do with that.
Well, and you are very sustainable in the way that you take the crab as well. My understanding is you only take males.
Yes.
And that you have like a release program, or there's some kind of
There's
with your gear.
sex and size.
Sex and size.
Which is a very sustainable method in fisheries, and especially here in the crab fishery, in the Dungeness crab fishery, which is the size measurement. We've all seen that stick. There's different size for recreation than there is for commercial. We have to have them a little bit bigger than recs.
Yeah. We have to get bigger ones in the sport.
And
guys.
we can only keep males. We can't keep any females, which keeps that population growing. So we should say we have also invested in the sustainability of crab. It's sex and size.
So I mean, from the sport fisherman's angle, the commercial guys can't wipe out all the sport crabs. There'll be sport crabs to catch because we take bigger ones. They get the smaller ones. So we're not wiping out the sport fishery.
Now, we know that this has been an issue in California. Is it also an issue in Washington, Alaska,
Not yet.
and other
They've
areas?
worked their way out. This is how this has worked in the last few years. These same groups have gone after California and pretty much decimated their fishery. I mean, permit values have crashed. You look at the coastal towns; they're ghost towns of what they were. That's another thing about this thing is how bad it's going to hit the communities here, because we're the backbone of the seafood industry, and they've really hit them hard. Those guys, they were behind. This came at them; they didn't see it coming. That's one thing that we've had here. A little bit of help is to work with those guys. They get ahead of it a little more, and hopefully not end up like them. Is because I will talk about coastal communities. When you devastate these communities like this, Newport's a little different. We're a little diverse, tourism and NOAA and other things, but all these other little coastal towns.
Yeah, Winchester Bay, Garibaldi, some of
Goose
the
Bay,
smaller.
Port Orford. Be devastating to Port Orford. These towns, then you see, people don't have as much money. You see drug and alcohol use go way up. Crime goes way up. When places aren't flourishing, crime and other activities.
When people don't have jobs.
Increase. Yeah. We saw it in the lumber towns with the spotted owl. This is kind of our spotted owl.
And we're over here saying what you saw a lot of the timber industry say in the spotted owl situation, which is we're the good guys. We might know something. And other people saying, nope, we know best, until it was shut down. And then it was like, oh, we were actually wrong.
Yeah.
It was the beard owl after all.
Yeah.
And this is the thing is sometimes we have to look at our natural resource harvesters as experts on the natural resource in some ways. And it's hard to, it might be easier for our community here to see us as that, but it's a little bit harder on the regulation level. But there's been huge strides made, huge strides by fishermen being a part of these boards, of working together in cooperative. Pack Wave is an example, they did it right with that, like we were able to work together with building marine
And I was on the
reserves.
fine committee where we worked with industry, industry to work together where we could all get what we wanted. And everybody was somewhat happy, and we got the job done working hand in hand with groups.
And that collaboration is really imperative when it comes to working together with environmental groups, fishermen. That's really important. And again, I want to emphasize that you're not against the environmental groups.
No.
You're not against the whales or the turtles.
We all love whales. We all love whales.
We all have them as a kid.
I mean, we all wanted to see. We all wanted to see when I was a kid. I probably gave money to the Jocko, Society because I wanted to save whales. Everybody wants to save whales, and the good thing is we saved the whales.
Yeah, whales are booming.
The whales are booming. It's a success story, but now we have problems because of that success story. Is I want to say the overpopulation. The population increases. Now we have these entanglements, and if you really look at it. The size of the population, it's minuscule. It's incidental. It doesn't affect the population whatsoever. Not at all. That the future of that population was whales.
So it's just to emphasize that everybody needs to come to the table and work together and find those leeways so that it's not a one extreme or the other.
Yes.
Yes.
And our crabbing industry, as you mentioned, it affects not just those families, but those families are contributing to the schools. They're purchasing groceries at our local grocery store.
Eating at restaurants.
That is huge.
Going to the theater.
There's fuel companies that rely on the commercial fuel. There's grocery stores staying alive because
the tax base because of the crab pays for our schools. I mean, that's a biggie. You look at what happened to the timber towns when they all dried up. The schools they couldn't get the funding, so then they had to rely on more on federal funding or state funding. I mean, it just really, really hit the schools hard, and then you're talking about education of the kids.
So, Gary, Cari, what can people do? I know.
We've been dealing with that all week. We're just like, we don't know which one you're talking about. We don't go with it.
What can people do to help, or what do you recommend that there be for next steps? You've got a meeting coming up from the
February 20th. At the Armory in Springfield, Oregon, and we'll be there. We want everybody involved in fisheries that cares about crabbers, that cares about Oregon seafood, to show up, to write a letter. There is a link online to write letters of impact, and it matters. It honestly matters to us. And we were so impressed yesterday. We had our first OCCA meeting in 7 years, I think, or like a lot of years.
Wow.
In a lot of years. And we had in this room in England Marine upstairs 82 people.
Wow.
So you can imagine how full that was. And then in Astoria, they set one up at England Marine there. Such a great sponsor of fishermen. And they had almost 50 people in the room. And then in Coos Bay, they had 25-ish in the room. Right. And so really great turnout. And
we had over 200
people. 25.
Over 200 people tried to get on our Zoom to participate.
So it quit letting people on. So
people on.
I'm glad I got on early.
we being a part of fisheries and sitting on councils and sitting in meetings, it's hard pressed to find that many fishermen attending a meeting ever if you've ever seen it. And I have never seen it. But that was amazing, and they were quiet and they were respectful. And they
played well with each other. I'll put it that way. Which I run I'm also president of the Newport Marketing Association, and we have a lot of marketing, and they get very contagious on the price of crabs, how we're starting the season. You put 10 fishermen in a room and you're going to have 11 opinions. Okay. That's just how it's going to go. So, you know, it's very hard to get all these guys on the same page. And roughly we had, you know, 120 guys attending. Okay. There was so many people, we couldn't even get them all in here.
Yeah, we don't know how many turned away.
We had a lot of people, a lot of friends of mine said it was line out to the street to get in, and they finally said, well, you know, we'll zoom it because we can't get in. So for me, that really shows. I think for Cari and I both, this has been a lot of work to doing this, and it gives us a little inspiration as the fleet is really behind. You know, they care about. They're going to potentially lose their businesses. You know,
we had families in the room that said, "This is my retirement. If this happens, I have nothing." Had ones in the room said, "My son's here with me. I've all these years. He's coming on 40. He's ready to take over the boat. What am I leaving him? I've left him nothing if this happens." Yeah. There was another fisherman who I spoke to who said, "My wife's medicine is $1,000 a month and I don't have health insurance. If this happens, my wife could die. Yes. It's $1,000 a month for her to survive." We have people who said, "I have 5 children. What am I going to do?" Yeah. These are real things that people are saying to us. Real stuff. You know, when the man comes in with his wife on cancer treatment and says, "If I can't pay the $1,000, I'm not going to live," and she's sitting in here, that's real. That's real. That is real.
These are faces behind.
And that's the reason Gary and I worked for a week straight to get ready for yesterday's meeting. Was that matters. That matters to me. That's what I'm here for, you know, and that's what we did this for. And it wasn't just for us. It's not like, oh, we are just going to save us. And we can't save us. It takes takes those 150 people. And the fishermen supported it. And that is just huge. And now we can work on science, economic studies, legal defense, take reduction committees, you know, teams to look at innovation, grants to look at getting a chance to try out this gear at a cost-effective price. Give us time and we will prove ourselves. Yes. We've done this time and time again. We did it in shrimp. We've done it in the trawl fisheries. We continue to be innovative and
you work a lot with OSU.
Flexible. We're going to be innovative and flexible.
We have intelligent.
But you can only flex so far. You know, without break.
It's very. I talked to a fisherman today who's been doing this for 50 years, and his sons now run his boats, and he spent some time with me on the phone, and he said people don't realize, like they're talking down to me. They're talking down to me.
Yes.
And they're treating me like I'm stupid and I don't know because I'm not sitting in the room with that science degree. And the reality is these men are smarter, innovative engineers. They believe in the ocean. They're the biggest nature conservationists you're ever going to meet. Because if we don't have fish, if we don't have crab, we don't have a living.
We don't have a job.
We don't have a job. We've worked all this years, learned under the others. We've learned from others' mistakes. We've changed them. We work every day to change them. And until you can fix some hydraulics while your boat's taking on water and you're sideways in the wind, then you got to run upstairs and run your 5 computers screens that show you how to track a wild animal. You don't understand what these fishermen are able to do. And they're really underestimating the capability of our fishermen. And specifically, we can just speak to Oregon fishermen. Right. Because in Oregon, we're different. We have the Oregon way, we have the Oregon roadmap, and we stand by that. And we believe in our resources. We've done it time and time again over generations, and we'll continue to do it. And that's my speech on what I feel like we see in these rooms. And I've stood up and said that way more than once. Is don't talk down to these guys. You don't know who you're talking to.
Right.
You know, these are more intelligent and capable men and women than you come in contact with in a normal day sitting behind a desk. And that's just the reality. And anybody knows, if you think about what we're doing every day, you can think about what we're capable of. And as a team, we're going to be capable of even more.
Yes.
So again, the Fish and Wildlife Commission is February 20th in Springfield. There is an online option. And folks can also put in
Written
their
comment.
comments now.
Mhm.
So we'll have that information up. I'm sure if you go to the ODFW
Website.
Facebook page or website,
Right.
they've got that information
Yeah,
up.
yes.
We'll have it up again on Oregon Coast Breaking News as well. I appreciate very much you guys taking time to share this important information with the community. Thank you so much.
And we appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Kiera. We appreciate the opportunity so much, and thanks for waiting for us for our meeting earlier. She's been standing by for like 2 hours waiting to talk to us, and that means a lot. You didn't give up on us.
Never.
And we're not going to give up either.
No.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining me on this episode of Coffee with Kiera. It is sponsored by the Human Bean in Newport.
Cheers.
At 6th Street and Highway 101 in Lincoln City. They are located at the north end of town on the west side next to TLC Credit Union. Thanks for joining me. I'm Kiera Morgan.